everyone, welcome back to another typing video. John Bodine here with Redemptopsych, and today we're going to take a look at the British, I believe he's British, the British actor Aaron Taylor-Johnson. Now he's been around for some time, but he's still pretty young, but I've seen him in a few projects over the years, and I think he's killed it every single time. I had studied him a little bit a couple years ago because I was curious about one of the performances he gave. He had the most disturbing depiction of basically a psychopathic killer that I've ever seen. I've only seen the movie once. And if you guys want a, kind of a disturbing, in-depth look on some of the darker sides of a type, you can watch that movie. It's called Nocturnal Animals. Definitely not a family-friendly movie, but his performance there was chilling in the deepest sense of the word. So we're going to take a look at him. We're going to react to some videos I've chosen. I haven't seen most of these. I've seen like one part of one of them. So I want to give you guys kind of a more raw, in the moment reaction, try and figure out what type he is. I know a lot of people think he's an INFJ. I'd be very surprised if that was the case. I think INFJs are a lot more rare in the basically in the entertainment industry than people think. So let's take a look at the first one here.
One good decision you made was working with Danny Boyle. 28
Yes.
years later.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been berating, Danny for that question for the last decade. When's it happening? And finally, it's happened. You've shot it.
We have.
Jodie Comer, Ralph Fiennes.
I mean,
and
two of the finest actors are British actors. Yeah.
what was the experience like? Because that first.
Two of the finest actors are British actors. Technically, that's a TE statement. He's two of the finest actors. It sounds like just a normal compliment. That could be like an FE thing. But then he backs it up with another label, our British actors, my identity as a British guy, and these other actors are British actors. Technically, that's a TE statement.
Was so innovative for 1,000 different reasons. We know he's shot on an iPhone. Again, that's out there.
Okay, cool.
Well, I mean, I'm saying it so you
Dude,
don't have,
it's
so you
cool.
don't have to.
I mean, it's great.
So you know, it's out there. But what was? Can you hint a little bit about what the experience was like? What made it special for you?
I feel like I can't. There's not enough vocabulary to articulate how extraordinary this shoot was. I mean, it was like I had one of the most incredible experiences on set ever, and I think that's because Danny Boyle is an absolute legendary filmmaker and director, and the enthusiasm this guy has. He's like a child.
He's like Quentin Tarantino level of like
oh my god,
manic
this
energy
is like whoa, like you just need to plug in and like take some of that energy. It's like it's electric and it's like it like invigorated and inspired me again to be like an actor. Like, and that sounds bizarre, but like
wow.
There's a moment where you're like, oh, I fucking love acting again, like, which is like bizarre because sometimes I'm like it's strange that I've kind of possibly dipped out on or something along the way, but like what we were getting was what we got.
Okay, so he's sharing from his own experience, from his own perspective. He's talking about the energy. You could argue that's like extroverted sensing, but I don't think so. I think he's saying the impact on his own experience based on the vision and the energy of the director, Danny Boyle. So that's some introverted sensing as he's communicating. We see him sharing from his own experience. We also see some, well, actually we see a lot of informative so far. He's not really just, he's kind of lavish with his words. He's opening up his own experience. He's sharing, he's expressing himself. That's informative. He also seems initiating. He's just initiating new points. He's taking this to whatever direction he wants to based on his experience. So we might be looking at one of the starter types in an initiating informative type.
Was like, it was really feeding the soul. And I think because the premise in itself is just the most extraordinary premise, because you've also got that built-in audience where, like you said, it's a cult film that happened, like, it came out 2001, I think.
Sounds right,
yeah. Right?
We'll fact check it, around that.
It's about that time, I think.
Yeah.
And so And so obviously, I don't know how much I can say really, but you know, time is obviously, time stopped still then,
Yeah.
you know, and now we've gone 28 years later. So these are like the survivalists that have lived through. I mean, if you think the pandemic of like that 2-year period and elongate that to 28 years, and it just gives you so much imagination and fills in so much, but also layers of trauma, obviously. And I think
That's interesting. Layers of trauma. Okay, so he's demonstrating some abstraction here as well. He's talking about this vision, and he's relating it to a common experience of the pandemic. But then he's taking that and blowing it up in this big picture, comparing the plot in this movie 28 years later to the pandemic in a much greater form. Okay, so that is an abstraction because it's taking a reference point and then blowing it up to describe the plot in these sort of vague ways that he doesn't share too much. So that's an abstraction. Layers of trauma, that statement is also an abstraction as well. So we're probably looking at a starter type, probably an abstract starter type, but at the very least we see some abstraction there. We've seen lots of informative, and he pretty clearly seems like an extrovert. He's initiating a lot of points, and he's kind of carrying the conversation on to wherever he wants to go.
that built-in premise of concept, just on top of like, without knowing what the story is.
Yep.
That's how much, like, there's like that behind everything else. So
Did you shoot?
it's just, I mean, I can't tell you how exciting I'm absolutely excited to see this. I don't, you know, I'm really excited to see how this comes out, and because of the way they were filming, the way that an iPhone films you,
Right.
cuts through. It's like this moment where you feel like really vulnerable for a second because you're like, oh,
Camera's like right
there's
so
no
close
sort of,
to you, so
and
yeah.
we're rolling, checking, and you know, whatever, like go through the motions of like, because you sort of, and there's your mark, you get sort of set, you know, you carry it light, and then you might go and do your scene or whatever, and then, but like an iPhone's just like, here it is, and then you're like, oh, fuck. Oh shit, you can see and feel. It's something that just like, you know, when someone sticks a camera in your face in an iPhone, it makes you feel vulnerable instantly. Like they're just like, oh, you're seeing too much. Like, you know what I mean? There's something weird, and that was funny just to get used to that at the beginning, I think, and then I just was like, whoa, this is wild. This is really wild. And
Wow. So he's sharing more of his own experience, but there's so much internal experience that he is sharing that it feels like more than just SI. Okay, he's going over his own experience. That talk about being uncomfortable with that camera being so close. It's easier for him to remember his experience than it might be for other types. Okay, that last little clip, about a minute or so, that is a great example of introverted sensing. He's sensitive to this discomfort. Might be looking like an SI inferior actually. And maybe some FI too, okay? He's not just talking about his experience, he's talking about it opening him up in a vulnerable way. And in a way that he's aware of how he feels, in a way that he's aware of having to move himself aside to become more comfortable in that situation. So we might be looking at an FI NE user here too. Okay, let's watch a couple shorts and then we'll finish up with another longer video.
Joss came about and asked about Avengers and this character. And I think it took about a year's worth of sort of chatting and negotiations and things like that. For me, I was very much like, I didn't feel comfortable at that time. Like I said, I had my children and I didn't want to do TV series and I didn't want to do umpty-nine franchises. I felt very confined in this sort of like, a lineup of things that I didn't know. And then, you know, and I mean, this feels like I'm not supposed to say this, but this is the truth and people know this, is that Fox owned X-Men. Yep. They own the other element to these other two characters. Their father's character is in X-Men. Yeah. What do you do about
it? Interesting. Okay. There is some there we can read into, but I'm not going to do that. What we do see, though, is just more of the same, more informative, some abstraction, seems a little bit TE too. He seems willing to talk. He's aware and he's willing to talk about kind of the rules and the procedures here. He's sharing more of his own experience. Okay, this is, you know, for the sake of my children and my responsibility to them. I wanted to have, basically he's saying, a one-off project so that he could come back and be a present father. So more informative, some TE, and more initiating. Let's go to the next one.
And can you do Marvel and Bond at the same time?
If that's your thing, come watch this movie, because it won't disappoint. Some of the action we've done in this, the sequences, I mean, incredible stunt team we work with on this. I'm running like barefoot out in the snow in Iceland in a blizzard, which we really went and did. We're in and out of forest. We did an amazing sequence throughout the city, a chase through London. And it was great to have this wildlife, you know, wild kind of character, larger than life character, in an urban environment, and see how he kind of fares with the, you know, man against machine. So there's some exciting stuff that we played with.
Okay, that's more extroverted thinking, actually. Okay, he's talking about the type of character this is, a wild character, a larger than life character. That's abstraction. That's some NE, but it's more TE here too. He's describing the character in terms of labels. Okay, in terms of this. These roles almost, and then he goes to another TE statement, this urban environment, this description. I'm not saying a TI user couldn't say that, but label after label after label, you're probably looking at a TE user. Again, guys, when I label something like a TE statement, I'm not saying that person is for sure a TE user. Like, any type can have a TE statement, but I want you guys to just see what how the evidence stacks up. And if we have enough TE statements, they're probably a TE user. Okay, let's look at one more short here.
And it sort of has like angry looking swear word emoji things, whatever that is, fury, like ah. My favourite cinema snack is just going to have to be a classic bucket of popcorn. I quite like a salty popcorn. It's just a great action movie, you know, and to kind of really take it in and enjoy the full experience, you want to see this in the cinema. This is a real theatrical kind of release that you want to see. Sort of feel packed and
that you want to see. Okay, that's technically an NE statement, NESI statement. He's talking about the experience that he has had in the past and that other people would want to have that same experience. You could argue it's SE. I think it's more SI. He's casting this vision about, you know, how he probably would experience it, and thinking other people would experience it the same. So guys, we're looking at at an ENP, we might be looking at an ENFP, which is pretty fascinating.
Sound and got a lot of heart and emotion to it, but you know, Russell Crowe is fantastic in this, and anything with him on, you should go see it in the cinema for sure.
Okay. Yeah, that's technically a little more TE. Okay, so we're gonna watch one more a few more minutes from this one interview. But so far, we're a lot of evidence for initiating and informative. And if you guys know the interaction styles, that makes him a starter type. I've seen no evidence for him being direct or responding. He's very engaging. He speaks a lot, but comfortably. He shares from his own experience a lot. He's clearly abstract from what I can see, which means, the abstract starter types are the ENTP or the ENFP. We see a lot of TE and some FI, so that means he might be an ENFP. So let's look at this one last video and make sure we're not reading in too much to things.
I like the deli, and I like barking bitches, and I like the John and Vinny's.
Nice.
And Animal, right?
An animal, yes. You can only go to animal once every few months, though, without dying.
Yeah, you get beat to meat
That's a lot of
sweats or
meat.
something.
So how are you?
I'm great. I'm good to be here, man.
Are you enjoying show business these days? Are you as you go through it? It's been interesting watching your arc, because it seemed like at first you were kind of like a an artist coming into our crazy Hollywood world, and now you seem to be fully a part of it on some level.
I think there's some aspect that you have to embrace, and I think that only comes with experience and maturity. So I think this side of it is very difficult. I always find difficult, you know.
But you always seem good-natured about it.
I'm very pleased and happy to be here. I'm proud of this movie, so and I'm proud of what Tom's achieved.
Okay, I'm proud of this. I'm proud of what he's achieved. FI statement, TE statement. Also, a little earlier, talking about maturity. He's talking about his own character and expectations. Technically, expectations are also extroverted thinking, particularly in the way that he described it. So more FI here, talking about maturity, and then how he feels about the project. Okay, when someone says I'm proud of this, like, listen to what they say right after that. He is proud of it because of his own, it looks to me like his own evaluation of like, oh, this was good, and I'm proud of what my director has achieved. He's evaluating himself. That's what it looks like. And if that is the case, that is introverted feeling.
And had a great time, so.
So you got a phone call one day and they said, we want you to play the depth of evil on Earth? Was that the call, or?
I know, it was more that Tom was thinking of me for approaching me for his second film. So,
okay, just real quick. If you watch this interview, and I can see it so far, it makes sense why some people think he's an INFJ, because if you just watch some clips and not others, he's much more subdued in this interview. He seems much more reflective. He's probably a bit uncomfortable, is the impression I get. But he's taking in the question. He's thinking about it more. He's not just popping off and like sharing. So with just this interview, it looks more like an introverted intuitive, but I don't think that's the case. Just to say that depending on what footage you see or what examples you see of people, they obviously can look like different types.
There was no sort of real talk of character until he sent me the script, and I thought it was an incredible script, very ambitious. These 3 stories that intertwine, and great characters. And
that's abstract and FI. Again, he's citing these different, these 3 different attributes of this project, and he's expressing it from his own personal experience. He's evaluating himself. He himself is evaluating the project more FI. He's evaluating the quality of this. It's ambitious, the characters, all this stuff. That's more abstraction, more FI.
And then pretty shocked to see that he thought of me to be this pretty disturbing, unpleasant psychopath.
So is that also kind of flattering on some level?
Well, I was absolutely, and then I think essentially I was just, and I am very grateful for the opportunity to dive into a character so complex as this, and something I've never done before. So yeah, it was a real challenge.
So do you research for a psychopath, or how
Yeah.
do you do it?
Well, it's not something I'm very immersed in. So yeah, no, I spent 3 months. We had this beautiful luxury we had 3 months prior to making the movie where Tom wanted me to grow my hair out, grow my beard, my fingernails, drop weight, and over that time I was studying and researching serial killers, looking at Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, documentaries, really trying to get mannerisms or some sense of qualities in them that we were looking at for this character. Something like charismatic, charming, but unpredictable. You know.
Charismatic, charming, unpredictable. He's talking about his research. I see T. Child there, I think. And if you look at just his description, okay, of the preparation for the role, starting big picture, okay, I'm going to look at these well-known killers, and then what did he say after that? Get the mannerisms. This is really interesting because if you think about S.E. Demon, okay, when they perform something, like in a film or a play, they have to memorize how that experience comes out. So he's getting specific mannerisms with his SI, practicing with them, that come out over time with SE. But more here, we see abstraction. His description of his preparation for this is pretty abstract, pretty TE based too. We see, I think we're looking at TE Child here. So yeah, well, I'm gonna stop there. I have seen, this is the interview I've seen some of a while back. If you guys want to study him more, I recommend this interview. He seems like more of a substantial person than a typical performer in Hollywood, and he seems to have a lot of soul in this interview. But guys, I just see more FI, more abstraction. He's an abstract starter type from what I can tell. FI, lots of FI actually. Watch out for those evaluation statements of, are they evaluating it themselves, about how they feel about it, how they value it, or is their opinion shaped by how other people feel about it? That's a big theme you can look into. So with that being said, it looks like Aaron Taylor Johnson is an ENFP, and if you guys do watch that movie with his depiction of a psychopath, I think the character is the same type, but much more in his demon function. So anyway, guys, thanks for stopping by. Let me know if you guys what you guys' thoughts are on him. I imagine several of you are aware of him. And anyway, thanks for stopping by, guys, and we'll see you next time.